Hello everyone, my name is Jagdeep, and in this video we'll be talking about what a demand curve is. For those who don't know what demand is the quantity of a commodity a consumer is willing to pay for at a given price at a given point of time. That's demand. So for example, if you're ready to pay say $45 for a loaf of bread daily, then that's your demand for this particular commodity, which is bread. All right. Let's quickly take a look at what a demand curve is and how do we go about plotting it. All right, so let's take a quick look at what demand curve is. So in simple and sweet terms, it's a graphical representation of all the various quantities that a consumer is willing to pay for at a given price, ceteris paribus, in a given market. That's demand curve. Now, what does a demand curve show? It would generally show an inverse relationship between the price of a commodity and its quantity demanded by the consumer. And in a broad sense, we have two types of demand curve, one for the consumers, individual consumer, and one for the entire market. So when we make demand curve for an individual consumer, that demand curve is called as individual demand curve. And when it is plotted for the entire market, it is called as a market demand curve. This video shall focus only on individual demand curve. And here we see that there's a schedule for an individual's quantity demanded for a specific commodity. So there are three price points here, price 1, 2, 3. And for each individual price, there's a quantity that this consumer is willing to purchase, that the consumer is willing to pay for. So that's how the demand schedule or individual demand schedule, to be specific, is plotted. Based on this, how do we plot the diagram for individual demand curve? Let's quickly take a look at this. In this particular diagram, the title of the diagram is written as individual demand curve. The y-axis depicts the price, which is an independent variable. The x-axis depicts the quantity demanded, which is a dependent variable, and it depends on the price of the commodity. When we plot each price points on this particular chart, and when we draw a line across those points, all the 3 pointers, we will get this demand curve. So the first point was point A, where the price was 3 and the quantity demanded was 1 unit. Second point was point B, where the price was $2 and the price quantity demanded was 2 units. And the third point was point C, where the price was $1 and the quantity demanded was 3. So we got all the 3 points plotted on the graph. And once that is plotted, all you need to do is simply draw a line through those points. And that's how we get the individual demand curve. So how do we write an explanation for this? This is how we need to write. So individual demand curve represents or graphically represents all the various quantities that a consumer is willing to buy at various levels of prices, ceteris paribus, during a given period of time. Ceteris paribus in this statement again refers to all other factors affecting demand to be constant. Now, in this above diagram, y-axis has price, x-axis has quantity demanded. We need to plot the quantities that a consumer is willing to pay for at each individual price, and then we join these pointers. The moment we join these pointers, we will get our individual demand curve. Again, what is this demand curve showing us? It is showing us an inverse relationship between the prices of the goods and the quantities that a consumer is willing to pay for. This is how an individual demand curve is derived and it is plotted. All right. In the next video, we will talk about market demand curve. All right, people, make sure that you have your notes in place. If you haven't, please replay the video again and make your notes. And I'll see you next in another video. Bye, people. Take care.